This is Janet with Try It Like It Created, and today I have a free SVG file for you to use with cardstock. And so what I'm using here is their basic cardstock in white. It's an 80-pound cover, and I have already cut this on my Cricut Maker. And this is the card front and what I'm calling the wreath, and it is scored. So I'm just going to fold that card and mark along that score line there. And we can work on it folded or flat, so I'm going to leave it flat, but I have marked where my score is. And then I wanted to bring in the cut flower pieces, and so this is kind of a kit because you can use these pieces as you would like to go around the wreath, or you could just leave it as a circle and you know, put some color behind it, or some vellum, whatever you prefer to do. But today I'm going to be working with these pieces, and we're going to be making flowers. So I'm going to take the flower pieces here first and set them off to the side. And the first thing we're going to do here is color them, and I would like them to be a combination of yellow and pink. And so I have my distressed oxides here, and I have worn lipstick and squeezed lemonade, and so I am just going to put them right here onto my glass mat. And then I'm going to grab my blending brush, and I'm looking for, there they are, sorry, I'm looking for a pair of tweezers to hold them in place. Okay, so this will work. I'm going to start with the yellow, and I'm just going to pick that yellow up, and I want it to be somewhat muted. That's why I'm not going directly from the pad. I want it to be a more subtle color, and that's the same with all the colors that I'm going to be using here today. So I just want to do a softer blend with them. And that centerpiece, I might actually pick it up and just stamp it right into the ink pad, like so. And you can see both sides. Well, actually the front side here has gotten a nice yellow color. And so I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to grab my next one here to blend. And what I really want to do is just go around the edges here and make these a little tinted. So now I'm going to do the same technique with the leaves that I want to put around it. My pieces all colored, and what I want to do next is using this little round tool, and I'm going to go into the flowers and give them some dimension. So the center one, I want it to really pop up, so I'm going to put some major pressure in the center here and just keep rolling it around until I like what I see, and that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to do the same thing here to the flowers. And unfortunately, that is kind of coloring the center there, which I don't want to have happen. So let me see if I can put something over that and see if I rub, that will help. Okay, so I think that's going to work. And I want to do it to this one as well. Alright, and so I want that to stand up with a little yellow in the center. It looks good. And the little yellow is picking up that dark color as well. So I may go back in there and fill that in with like a drop of glue with some glitter, maybe. And then these guys, I really want them to curl outward as well. So I'm going to go on the back of each petal here and kind of give them a little bit of shape. All right. And then go back into the center. All right, so I think that is going to give me enough of what I'm looking for dimension. Just go into this one just a little bit more. Push down in the center a little bit more. All right, yeah, I'm going to be happy with that. And we'll just leave that as is, like so. And then these leaves are going to be flat. But these, I do want them to stand up just a little bit, so I am going to just go down that center stem, if you will. And see if that gives them just a little bit of curve. Yeah, we don't need a lot for those. All right, so now it is time to move those aside and bring our card in and kind of figure out how we want this to lay. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the flowers sit down here. So I'm going to put that right there so I know where to put the leaves. And then I'm going to bring my glue in. So I'm just going to run some glue on these pieces here. And I'm not too worried about where it's going because I am going to move it around with my finger. So just want to make sure I got everything covered well. If you don't want to get your finger messy, you can do this with a cosmetic sponge, works real well. Cotton swab, anything like that will work. All right, so now I'm going to take these and bring them into our composition. All right, so this one is going to tuck in underneath and follow along the edge of the wreath there, like so. And the same with the other one on the other side. And I'm just going to tuck that. So you can see why I haven't glued the flower down yet, is because I want to get these leaves in here in the right placement first. And one just needs to move over a little bit for my taste. All right, and then we're ready to glue the next leaves here. And same technique. I'm just gonna put some glue on them and then move it around to make sure they're covered. And because they lift up, I don't have to go all the way to the outside of the leaves. And I have a wet baby wipe off to the side, and I'm wiping my hand off as we go. All right, so then this one is going to tuck in here. And so you can see why it's a little bit lighter, because I want it to stand out from the darker leaf. And then we can just pull up on the ends here. Some of them had more glue than others, so they may not want to come up as much as I'm trying to manipulate them. But, okay, I'm going to stick that one in there, like so. We do need some of those to kind of, some of the leaf to stick down to hold it in place, because that stem just isn't a whole heck of a lot to hold it in place. All right, so I like what we have there. And then for the flower, all right, I'm going to work on this little centerpiece for a second here. So let me just pull out something that will go in there, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I have decided to do here is to use this little teeny yellow gem. And so off to the side here, I am going to put some glue on my paper. And then I'm going to use my ball tool to just get that down in there, since that's the shape we made this with. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up that gem and drop it down in there. And turn it over because it went upside down. Doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, there we go. It's a little. Alright, I think we're good there. Alright, so I'm just going to do the same technique on the flowers. I am just, since I've got the glue sitting there, I am going to take my ball tool and just cover the back of this flower generously and place it onto the card. And then do the same with the centerpiece. And just stagger the petals from the outside. And so what I mean by that is wherever you can, where there's a slit in the big one, if you can put a petal from the next one in its space. All right, and then the last thing we need to do here is grab some of that glue. Might need a little bit more. I just soaked through the paper. All right, so like that. And then we're going to take our little teeny centerpiece and drop it right in there. And just give it a push. All right, so I am going to call that finished for my card. Now keep in mind that your file comes with these additional flower shapes, and you could use them in here somehow as well, or even, you know, you could cut one off and just use them as individual flowers and tuck them in. So let's take a look and see what that would look like. So if we were just to cut this stem here, we could take this flower and just, you know, add some extras around the outside if you'd like. And of course you could color them. You could leave them white. You could put a little gem in the center. You know, whatever works for your composition. So I hope that you like this file and you enjoy making what I am calling a wreath card. I just wanted to come back and show you the finished card and the dimension with the leaves and the flower. And then I also wanted to show you that the pieces that we cut them out from on the paper would make nice stencils. So don't throw these away. Keep them, and then you can use them as stencils.